What happens when your character gets overheated? What are the signs and symptoms of heat-related illnesses? What are heat-related illnesses? How can this affect your story? Find out on this episode. Welcome to Writing Rule with Allie. I'm Allie, and this is episode number 36, Heat-Related Illnesses. This month, I have teamed up with Elizabeth Jacobson, the author of Not by Sight, a biblical retelling of the story of Joseph, in honor of her double nomination for the Carol Awards. This month's episodes are all inspired by her book. I will leave links to all her stuff in the show notes. Let me start by adding a disclaimer. I am in no way, shape, form, or fashion a doctor or medical person. This is not medical advice, and I am not telling you what to do or not to do. This is solely for the purpose of inspiring ideas for writing about heat-related illnesses in a fiction story and nothing else. Now, let's get into this. Today we are talking about heat-related illnesses. These types of illnesses happen as a result of the body having a hard time regulating its internal temperature during hot weather or hot, humid environments such as a sauna. When this happens, the body temperature starts to rise. It is called hyperthermia. I did not know that and had to read it a few times to realize that they didn't have an error. But one letter was changed from hypothermia. Fevers are not part of this category, but if a person already had a fever before going into the heat, it could make things worse. And these things could happen to them also. As of 2023, there were approximately 170,000 worker-related heat injuries and illnesses per year in the United States. I assume this is mostly from road workers, construction workers, landscapers, and other outside jobs. Still, it could be from inside jobs requiring working in heated environments. So maybe a steel factory worker? There are 3 types of illnesses that fall under hyperthermia: heat cramps, heat exhaustion, and heat stroke. Heat cramps are defined as painful muscle cramps or spasms that happen due to heat salt loss due to sweating, and they are normally more intense and last longer than the typical nighttime muscle cramps. These are most common in young children that have been running around in the sun on a hot day. Common signs are heavy sweating, cold and clammy skin, cramps in the back of the legs, abdomen, or arm, muscle cramps, muscle spasms. Who'da thunk it? Treatments for these are to move into shade or another cool place, remove extra clothing, give drink to rehydrate them. Cool beverages are best. If writing modern stories, drinks with electrolytes are best. Remember never to give alcohol or caffeine to a character suffering from heat illnesses, as this will dehydrate them and make everything worse. Never give alcohol to children. Stretch the cramped muscle slowly. Massage the muscle. Massaging the muscle might help, especially for children. The person should rest for a few hours before doing anything else in the sun or any other work. Heat exhaustion is defined as the body's core temperature reaching between 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit and 104 degrees Fahrenheit because of extreme heat and excessive water and salt loss from the body without replenishing the lost liquid from the sweat fast enough. Signs of heat exhaustion are heavy sweating, a core temperature of 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. Muscle cramps, weakness, cool, pale, clammy skin, dizziness, lightheadedness, nausea or vomiting, headache, fatigue, fast, weak pulse, thirst, irritability, anxiety. Treatments for heat exhaustion are moving to a cool place or at least to the shade. Remove excess clothing. Offer as much drink as they can handle. Sports drinks in modern stories or water with a pinch of salt in stories that are from other eras. This is to help replenish the lost salt. The character will need to be cooled. Place cold packs or other cold items on the neck, under the armpits, and between the legs on the thighs. This is where the body's main arteries are and will cool the character faster. Making their shirt wet and fanning them will help. They will need to rest at least the rest of the day. Heat stroke is defined as when the body loses the ability to control the internal temperature and it reaches 105 degrees or higher. This is the stage where things can quickly turn deadly. At this heat, the body's internal thermometer will stop working. The body's core temperature can quickly spike to 110 degrees Fahrenheit. Signs of heat stroke are temperatures over 104 degrees Fahrenheit, warm, dry skin, rapid heart, throbbing headache, nausea, vomiting, fatigue, confusion, dizziness, agitation, lethargia, stupor, fainting, seizures, loss of consciousness, coma, and death. The treatment for heat stroke is to do all of the first aid of the heat exhaustion. Remember, do not give drinks to characters that are unconscious or are in an altered altered mental state. If in modern times, call 911 or the country that you are writing about's ambulance service. Ice can be used on the neck, thighs, groin, and armpit. If in a historical setting, place them in a cool stream could be helpful, but your character will have to be careful because if they faint in the water, they might drown. Also, the patient might be in shock and will need to be treated for that also. Heat stroke can have long-term effects on the body. Your character could experience, but does not have to, brain, kidney, liver, or muscle damage, immune system damage, and are more likely to develop heart or liver disease later in life. The increased body temperature could cause organs to swell and be permanently damaged. Heat exhaustion and heat stroke are serious health issues and must be taken seriously. I can tell you from personally having dealt with both of these, it will forever affect the person's heat tolerance. This is because it can permanently damage the body's thermoregulation, causing heat intolerance. That doesn't mean that it has to happen, only that I have never met a person who had a heat stroke and didn't have this issue. Remember that with the body's temperature rising from hot situations, victims do not react the same to fever medications. Medications for this is little to no good because they are made for viral and bacterial infections, not for hot situations. Some medical documents consider heat rash a heat-related illness, while others do not. I personally feel it is more of a symptom since it doesn't have to do with the core body heat, and it's more about the body's reaction to sweat, but that's just a personal opinion since it's talked about. I'll cover it here. Heat rash, also known as prickly heat, is a rash that forms because of trapped sweat on the skin that results in irritated bumps forming on the skin. This can range from small bumps to blisters or even inflamed lumps, aka hives. These often appear on the neck, upper chest, folds in the arms, or in children along the diaper line. Some forms of heat rash are very itchy. Treatment for heat rash is to cool the skin and keep it dry. Also try to move out of humid climates. But that might not be an option in all stories. Once the skin is cool and dry, mild heat rash will get better very quickly. It could be gone within an hour. The best thing to do is to prevent heat-related illnesses before they happen. This can be done by drinking plenty of water and other hydrating fluids, wearing light clothing, scheduling work so that your character is not out in the hottest part of the day, taking plenty of breaks, using sunscreen. If writing historical, mud was often used as sunscreen and bug repellent. If in modern times, stay inside in the air conditioning. If there is no air conditioning, they can cool down in a root cellar, cave, or could use a fan. Check on the other characters in hot weather, especially the elderly and young children and those who are pregnant. Other things can be done and are done in different climates. Research the region or biome of the place or type of place that you are riding. Interesting fact. The highest body temperature ever recorded in a human was recorded in 1980 in a 51-year-old male who had a heat stroke. His temperature was recorded at 115.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Now for everyone's favorite part. What could possibly go wrong? Well, let me tell you. Likely to go wrong, your character is out in the sun too long and starts to feel nauseous. Also likely to go wrong, your character has heat rash and itches like crazy. Possible to go wrong, your character could be suffering from heat exhaustion and they faint. Maybe it's in front of their crush in a romance. Or maybe it's in the middle of a jungle all alone for suspense. The options are endless. Also possible to go wrong, your character tries to rehydrate with an alcoholic or caffeinated drink. Both of these are likely to make things worse as they can dehydrate and will not rehydrate them. Unlikely to go wrong, your character tries to take over-the-counter medication for a fever, for heat exhaustion, or heat stroke. It doesn't help, and things get worse. Or, this could lead to death if they don't do something else. Also unlikely to go wrong, your character could be suffering from heat exhaustion, and as their heart rate spikes, it causes a heart attack. This could be deadly. Improbable, but still technically their own possibilities. Your character could have a heat stroke, and might be left with permanent brain damage. Also improbable, but still technically their own possibilities. Your character goes to the river or stream to cool off during a heat stroke and they faint in the water. This could cause them to drown. You can find this episode's show notes and helpful links to them on my website, AlleyHart.com. That's ALLEYHART.com. Check out the show notes to find all the links for Elizabeth and her book. Thanks for listening. Subscribe and follow for more episodes. Connect on my YouTube videos by dropping me a comment. A new episode comes out every Monday. Until then, happy wordsmithing!